All right, guys, we're getting the MT120 loaded up. Gonna go do a little clearing job this morning. All right, we're loaded up, we're chained down, heading out to my mom's this morning to do a little fall cleanup out there. She's got just under 3 acres of wooded property, so, you know, a couple times a year, it always needs a good cleanup. This Belmont DLX has been an awesome trailer for hauling equipment. It's got a 27-inch deck height. It's got loads of tie-down points. So, I don't know how well you can see in there with the sun glare, but the MT120 fits perfectly in the 7x14. I got plenty of room if I want to haul a brush cutter or some other attachments. And this thing has got 8 tie-down points inside, plus the stake pockets all along the top of the rail. So really, really nice setup for hauling equipment and firewood. All right, let's get out there and get to work. All right, I got the MT120 warming up, and this is going to be a really good example of what this machine, one of the things this machine is really good at. So MT120, 48-inch vernic grapple on it, and we're going to head up on this hill here and do some clearing. Not right on the face of this hill, but up top. There's a lot of down trees, a lot of brush. We're gonna get everything into a nice big pile that we're gonna burn later on, but this thing is gonna make some pretty quick, easy work of this job. So I'm gonna hop on, take you guys up, give you a little tour, show you exactly what we're gonna do, get a little before and after shot. shut this thing down so you can hear me. So I'm not gonna walk. I already walked this once and pulled a tick off me, so I'm not gonna walk it a second time. But there's a couple down trees, a lot of brush, a lot of undergrowth. Right along the edge of the field here, there's a bunch of down limbs. So we're just gonna go through. There's actually a trail just on the other side of these trees here. So we're just gonna work our way along this edge, clear all this stuff up. Straight ahead, there's a brush pile covered up in the tall grass. We're gonna uncover that and get that ready to burn. Get this all cleaned up. All right, so this is the same spot we started from, and we tried to be as low impact as possible. I wanted to leave some brush between this wooded property and the field right there, but as we head down the line here, took out 2 down trees. Got a bunch of nasty vines cleaned up. This was a little tricky here. Actually cut these vines because they were tangled into these 2 dead trees. Not quite sure what they are, but they were starting to sway a little bit when I was pulling on the vines, so didn't want to risk bringing one of those down on me. That wouldn't have ended well. So I just cut up those vines at the bottom, cleaned that up in there. There was a tree right here. Got that out of here. Got everything around this fire pit cleaned up, just to make it a little safer to burn. But we have a pretty good fire pit here. That's just a pile of grasses. You can kind of feed them in as the fire gets hot. A couple stumps in there, 2 whole trees. And we did all of that in about 1 hour. So you could keep going. I mean, you could clear this whole area in half a day. I mean, a full day work. You could easily get everything in here, but sometimes it looks nicer when you just leave some of the brush. You know, you clear some trails. It's actually a trail down here. So this was our starting point right here. And there's actually a trail that goes up this way. Got all this cleaned up. There was actually a little tree down across the trail here. So got that out of the way. And started to work it up that way. But this was the bulk of the brush, for sure. So one really nice thing with that MT120, I could never get a big tractor through here. I could get the little BX through here, but you wouldn't be able to get the work done nearly as fast. Now over the rough terrain, the Bobcat is a little tricky to navigate, but it gets in and out of those trees really easy. Plenty of power lifting up those big logs. So it is a really nice machine if you're doing this type of work. Brush clearing in the woods. All right, guys, we are going to wrap things up for today. Starting to run out of light. So I appreciate you guys all being here, and I will see you on the next one.